Welcome everyone. Today we'll be hearing from another of our authors from the forthcoming book, Deconstructing Whiteness, Empire and Mission. And today we're going to be hearing from Kevin Ellis. So welcome, Kevin.
Thank you.
Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Kevin Ellis. I grew up in Sheffield, in Yorkshire, and now I'm a priest in the church in Wales, on the Llŷn Peninsula, which is very beautiful and rural, and as far away from the urban landscape as you might imagine.
Thank you, Kevin. So could you briefly describe what your chapter's about?
My chapter is, in part, an autobiographical reflection on my move to Wales. I guess it was quite pertinent, quite a theological revelation as well, moving from England to Wales, and probably coming to terms with the fact that coming to terms with the fact that whiteness is a thing. You might find that a bit strange because I trained at Queen's Foundation in Birmingham, and obviously was exposed to scholars like Professor Reddie and Dr. Mukti Barton as well, and engaged and loved Black theology, Asian theology. I guess it didn't really hit home probably until the last decade of time that actually my whiteness was an issue that I needed to deal with.
Okay. Thank you. So what made you take that particular approach to your chapter?
In part because it has been so liberative for me to engage with issues around whiteness and colonialism. And I think for many of us, for many white people, and being very careful not to generalize and make my story the whole story, it can actually be hidden. So, for example, moving to Wales for me involved learning, because of the part of Wales I live in, learning a whole new physical language, which is fun and hard work. But also learning a new history, so that realizing that the relationship between England and Wales hasn't always been even. That there's been not as clear cut as the colonial endeavours of the British Empire in other areas, but there has been I guess, a cultural backwash that has left Wales behind, and sometimes just measuring Englishness as the normative dominant way of being in the UK. And perhaps I might be cheeky and say that Professor Reddie's book on Brexit sometimes lumped the whole of the UK together, when perhaps sometimes we need to be honest and say that within the UK there have been parts that have been colonised, and we need to look carefully, and sometimes starting at home is a good place.
Okay, thanks. You've possibly touched on this already, but what would you say has shaped your social conscience?
Being exposed to difference. I think sometimes, because I am, by my own mission, I'm a priest in the church in Wales, that means I have a degree of power, whether I like to pretend that I give it away or not. That being white and male, middle class, heterosexual, and white means that I do have seen the world sometimes through rose-tinted spectacles, and my reawakening, as it were, has involved trying on different spectacles and making sure that in my current context in Wales, I am aware that sometimes I'm talking to people whose parents and grandparents, and sometimes themselves, have been punished for speaking Welsh, and think, "Ooh." And I'm part of that story. And while I have to wrestle with the fact of not blaming myself entirely for historical events that I wasn't part of, to acknowledge that actually I am still part of that, and I need to address it personally as an individual, but also hopefully help others do that as well.
Okay, thank you. So what do you think are the biggest challenges to the church and wider society in terms of creating frameworks for social justice?
I think we need to be honest about ourselves, honest that sometimes the church as an institution has not been liberative and has, in fact, contributed to oppressing people and to ensuring that and to keeping people trapped. There've been good things as well. I guess part of the Welsh story is the fact that the Bible was translated into Welsh at the same time as it was translated into English meant that Welsh could thrive as a language. But there have been times where I say that the church has been complicit in not allowing people to be who they can be. So honesty is the first step, and I think that's harder than we might imagine at times, because it challenges us and forces us to change and to be changed. But it's the heart for me of the gospel. But but it's a journey, and it's tiny steps, and sometimes it involves moving to different places.
Thank you. So finally, what do you hope people will take from reading your chapter?
I hope they will be challenged. I hope they will find it honest. I hope if people are white English like me, they will take a fresh look at their history and be willing to be part of the answer, part of trying to make a difference, so that they too, like I have done, realise that it doesn't always have to be done in the same way. That there's no excuse for allowing people to be thought of as second class, as different, as inferior, and acknowledging my part in that there have been times in my life where I've done that, and it might be it's been done unwittingly, but nevertheless it's been done, and I have been forced to sometimes gladly, sometimes not, to change and be different.
Okay, thank you. Well, thanks, Kevin, for sharing your perspectives with us today. And I'm sure people will be looking forward to actually reading your chapter. So thanks for
Thank you
being
very
present.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.